actually
Does
name it?
Grok know about it? No, he probably will go to Brave New World.
We could ask it.
What would be the question?
Tell us about the drug called Soma.
Tell us about the drug called Soma. It's gonna go to Brave New World, I think.
Well, there's a real drug as well.
Searching for Soma drug information. Oh boy. Soma, the wonder drug. By the way, I'm in fun mode.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, so it's talking about the real drug.
Oh, it's a muscle relaxant that's been around since the 1950s. It's used to treat muscle pain and discomfort, and it does this by altering the activity between neurons and the spinal cord. Now, Soma isn't just a pain reliever. It's also a bit of a sedative. It can make you feel a bit drowsy, so it's not something to take if you're planning on operating heavy machinery or trying to solve complex math equations. And it goes on and on. In conclusion, Soma is a drug that can be helpful for those dealing with muscle pain, but it's not without its risks. Pretty good. Oh, wait a minute.
That's the real drug it's talking about.
That's the real drug.
Yeah.
And of course, the fun is always use it responsibly in accordance with the advice of a healthcare professional. And remember, in the end, the universe is probably just a giant computer simulation, so don't take anything too seriously. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and also really nicely includes like the tweets, posts on X that are relevant to this, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It like integrates everything together.
Yeah.
Like the interface is one of the really cool things here.
Yeah. Seems like a great job. So and you could say no, I mean Soma from Brave New World, because it thinks you mean Soma the real drug.
Yeah.
No, I mean Soma from Brave New World.
It's gonna be like, oops, I'm really sorry. I'm really surprised it went to the real drug first. My apologies. I was thinking of the muscle relaxant. Soma for Brave New World is a different beast altogether. In Aldous Huxley's dystopian now, Soma is a drug that plays a central role in the society depicted in the book. It's a mood-altering hallucinogenic drug that's used to keep the population docile and content. In the novel, to use Soma in Brave New World raises some interesting questions about the nature of happiness and the role of drugs in society. Oh, man.
Exactly. Is it better to live in a world where everyone is happy all the time, even if that happiness is artificial?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. This is what I mean. Like, do you wish for world peace and happiness all the time? Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because that might be a society that is essentially sterile and ossified, that never changes, that is ultimately doomed.
This kind of tension between the darkness and the light.
This is really a very good summary.
Mm-hmm.
It really gets to the point. This is not simply regurgitating Brave New World. It's actually getting to the salient element of Soma as a drug. Do you actually want to be in a situation where everyone is happy all the time, even though it's artificial? Or is it better to confront the challenges of life and experience the full range of human emotions, even if it means experiencing pain and suffering?
For those listening, by the way, Elon just read directly from Grok, which is a really nice kind of insightful philosophical analysis of the tension here. Interesting.
It pretty much nails it. In conclusion, Soma from Brave New World is a fictional drug that's used to explore some deep philosophical questions about the nature of happiness and the role of drugs in society. It's a powerful symbol of the dangers of using drugs to escape from reality and the importance of confronting the challenges of life head on. Nailed it. And the crazy thing is, we do have a real drug called Soma, which kind of is kind of like the drug in the book. And I'm like, they must have named it after
Yeah,
or something.
probably.
Yeah. Soma, the real drug, is quite effective on back pain.
So you know about this drug.
I've taken it.
It's fascinating. Okay.
Because I had like a squashed disc in my C5, C6.
So it takes the physical pain away, but Soma here is...
It doesn't completely. It reduces the amount of pain you feel, but at the expense of mental acuity.
Mm.
It dulls your mind. just like the drug in the book.
Just like the drug in the book.
Yeah.
And hence the trade-off.
Yeah.
The thing that seems like utopia could be a dystopia after all.
Yeah. And actually, I was talking to a friend of mine saying, like, would you really want there to be no hate in the world? Like really none. Like I wonder why hate evolved. I'm not saying we should amplify hate, of course. I think we should try to minimize it, but none at all. There might be a reason for hate.
And suffering. I mean, it's really complicated to consider that some amount of human suffering is necessary for human flourishing.
Is it possible to appreciate the highs without knowing the lows?
And that all is summarized there in a single statement from Grok. Okay.
No highs, no lows. Who knows?
That's almost a poem. It seems that training LLMs efficiently is a big focus for XAI. What's the first of all, what's the limit of what's possible in terms of efficiency? There's this terminology of useful productivity per watt. Like, what have you learned from pushing the limits of that?
Well, I think it's helpful. The tools of physics are very powerful and can be applied, I think, to almost any arena in life. Mm-hmm. It's really just critical thinking. For something important, you need to reason from first principles and think about things in the limit, one direction or the other. So, in the limit, even at the Kardashev scale, meaning even if you harness the entire power of the sun, you will still care about useful compute per watt. So that's where I think probably where things are headed from the standpoint of AI is that we have a silicon shortage now that will transition to a voltage transformer shortage in about a year. Mm-hmm. Ironically, transformers for transformers. You need transformers to run transformers.
Somebody has a sense of humor in this thing.
I think, yes.
Oh, man.
Fate loves irony. Ironic humor. And an ironically funny outcome seems to be often what fate wants.
Humor is all you need. I think spice is all you need, somebody posted.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have a silicon shortage today. A voltage step down transformer shortage probably in about a year, and then just electricity shortages in general in about 2 years. I gave a speech for the sort of world gathering of utility companies, electricity companies. Mm-hmm. And I said, look, you really need to prepare for a tripling of electricity demand. Because all transport is going to go electric with the ironic exception of rockets. And heating will also go electric. So energy usage right now is roughly 1/3, very rough terms, 1/3 electricity, 1/3 transport, 1/3 heating. And so in order for everything to go sustainable, to go electric, you need to triple electricity output. So I encourage the utilities to build more power plants and also to probably have, well, not probably, they should definitely buy more batteries, because the grid currently is sized for real-time load, which is kind of crazy because, that means you got to size for whatever the peak electricity demand is, like the worst second or the worst day of the year, mm-hmm. or you can have a brownout or a blackout. And we had that crazy blackout for several days in Austin. So because there's almost no buffering of energy in the grid. Like if you've got a hydro power plant, you can buffer energy, but otherwise it's all real time. So with batteries, you can produce energy at night and use it during the day. So you can buffer. So I expect that there will be very heavy usage of batteries in the future, because the peak to trough ratio for power plants is anywhere from 2 to 5. So it's like lowest point to highest point.
So like batteries are necessary to balance it out, and then but the demand, as you're saying, is going to grow.
Yeah,
and part of that is the compute.
Yes. I mean electrification. I mean electrification of transport and electric heating will be much bigger than AI, at least
in the short term.
But even for AI, you really have a growing demand for electricity for electric vehicles, and a growing demand for electricity to run the computers for AI. Mm-hmm. And so this is obviously going to lead to an electricity shortage.
how difficult is the problem of, in this particular case, maximizing the useful productivity per watt for training neural nets? Like, this seems to be really where the big problem we're facing that needs to be solved is how to use the power efficiently. Like, what you've learned so far about applying this physics, first principle reasoning in this domain, how difficult is this problem?
It will get solved. It's just a question of how long it takes to solve it. So at various points, there's a limit, some kind of limiting factor to progress. And with regard to AI, I'm saying like right now the limiting factor is silicon chips, and that we're gonna then have more chips than we can actually plug in and turn on, probably in about a year. The initial constraint being literally voltage step down transformers, because you've got power coming in at 300,000 volts, and it's got to step all the way down eventually to around 0.7 volts. So it's a very big amount of, the voltage step down is gigantic. So the industry is not used to rapid growth.
Okay, let's talk about the competition here. You've shown concern about Google and Microsoft with OpenAI developing AGI. How can you help ensure with XAI and Tesla AI work that it doesn't become a competitive race to AGI, but instead is a collaborative development of safe AGI?
Well, I mean, I've been pushing for some kind of regulatory oversight for a long time. I've been somewhat of a Cassandra on the subject for over a decade. I think we want to be very careful in how we develop AI. It's a great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. I think it would be wise for us to have at least an objective third party who can be like a referee that can go in and understand what the various leading players are doing with AI. And even if there's no enforcement ability, they can at least voice concerns publicly. Jeff Hinton, for example, left Google and he voiced strong concerns, but now he's not at Google anymore. So who's going to voice the concerns? So I think there's, Tesla gets a lot of regulatory oversight on the automotive front. I mean, we're subject to, I think, over 100 regulatory agencies domestically and internationally. It's a lot. You could fill this room with all the regulations